We'll call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first matter on the agenda is a motion to appoint a temporary chairman to preside over the meeting.
I make a motion that Jay Fisher be the temporary chairman to preside over the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The second matter is to nominate chairman of the Board of Supervisors for 2019, and I'll nominate Kyle Scribner to be the chairman of the board for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nomination of a vice chairman of the Board of Supervisors for 2019.
I'll make a motion to nominate Vice Chairman Fisher to continue as Vice Chairman for the Board of Supervisors for the year 2019.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
All.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. The next matter is the reappointment of Scott Pearsall as Township Manager for 2019. And I'll make a motion that we appoint Scott Pearsall as Township Manager pursuant to the following terms. Salary, $104,416 per year. Longevity pay, $175 for each year of service, which shall be paid in a lump sum on the anniversary date of hire of August 15th. Benefits, Mr. Pearsall shall be entitled to the benefits provided by the township for other township employees as set forth in the employee manual, including health insurance, long-term disability insurance, life insurance, and a retirement plan. Vacation, 5 weeks of vacation. Expenses, reimbursement of ordinary, necessary, and reasonable expenses incurred by Mr. Pearsall in the course of his performance of his duties as township manager. Sick days in accordance with the Township Employee Manual, payment of professional dues for memberships in organizations that pertain to his scope of duties as Township Manager, a vehicle allowance of $400 per month. And the board wants to put on the record that on January 2nd, 2018, the board did not vote to continue the written employment agreement dated October 21st, 2015 that was extended by the previous board at the reorganizational meeting on January 4th, 2016 for a 2-year term. The board specifically stated in January 2018 that it was not accepting the terms of that employment agreement and would work towards renegotiating certain terms of the written contract. During the course of 2018, the board was later advised that it was not necessary to have a written employment agreement for the manager. We would like to reappoint Scott Pearsall as Township Manager for 2019, but want to make it clear that the written employment agreement dated October 21st, 2015 is not and has not been in effect since January, I think it's actually December 31st of 2017. There may be a time in the future when the board will agree to enter into a written employment agreement, but is not prepared to do so this morning. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
The next matter is the reappointment of Assistant Township Manager. I make a motion that we reappoint Luke Revin as Assistant Township Manager pursuant to the following terms. Salary, $73,935. Longevity pay, $170 for each year of service, which shall be paid in a lump sum on the anniversary date of hire, which is June 30th. Benefits, Mr. Revin shall be entitled to the benefits provided by the township for other township employees as set forth in the employee manual, including health insurance, long-term disability insurance, life insurance, and a retirement plan. Vacation in accordance with the employee manual. Expenses, reimbursement of ordinary, necessary, and reasonable expenses incurred by Mr. Revin in the course of his performance of the scope of his duties as Assistant Township Manager, including mileage reimbursement at the IRS rate for travel with his personal vehicle on township business. Sick days in accordance with the township's employee manual. And finally, the payment of professional dues for membership in organizations that pertain to his scope of duties as township manager. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Reappointment of Luke Revan as Township Recycling Coordinator.
I'll second.
Well, I'll make a motion that we reappoint Luke Revan as Township Recycling Coordinator for 2019. Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that we reappoint Scott T. Pearsall as Township's Emergency Management Coordinator for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Colin Miller of East Brandywine Township Fire Company as the Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator for 2019.
I'll second.
Colin Miller, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I make a motion we appoint Joe Edwards as Fire Marshal for East Brandywine Township for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make
Aye.
a motion we appoint Mark Cosi as Chief of Police for East Brandywine Township for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion we appoint Mary Kimball Slade as Secretary Treasurer for 2019.
I'll second.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Make a motion we appoint Matthew T. Van Loo as Roadmaster for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion we appoint Mary Kimball Slade as the Township Right to Know Officer and Luke Revan as Assistant Right to Know Officer for East Brandywine Township and the East Brandywine Municipal Authority.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion we appoint Lieutenant Jeffrey Yankovich as the East Brandywine Township Police Department Right to Know Officer for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion we appoint Arrow Consulting, Inc. as Residential Building Code Official, Commercial Building Code Official, and Zoning Officer for 2019 with all of the enforcement and interpretation powers of the zoning officer as provided by the municipality's planning code and the East Brandywine Township zoning ordinance as amended.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion we appoint Pinoni Associates as Township Engineer for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion we reappoint Cedarville Engineering for Stormwater Management Engineering for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
I'll make a motion we reappoint Heinrich and Klein as the Township Traffic Consultant for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
I make a motion we reappoint Kristen S. Camp of Buckley, Bryan, McGuire, and Moores LLP as Township Solicitor for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
I make a motion we reappoint Thomas F. Esty as Buckley, Bryan, McGuire, and Morris LLP as Planning Commission Solicitor for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
I make a motion we reappoint Eric Brown of Sienna Belvoir as Zoning Hearing Board Solicitor for 2019.
I will second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Make a motion we reappoint Scott Blissman of Eckerd Siemens, Charon, and Malat as Police Labor Attorney for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion we reappoint James Rosato to another 5-year term as a member of the Zoning Hearing Board.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Make a motion we reappoint Michael Corbin and Michael Wagoneer as members of the Planning Commission for additional 4-year terms.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay. I'm sorry. Aye.
I make a motion we reappoint Jay Fisher, Kyle Scribner, Jason Winters, Bruce Rawlings, Michael Corbin, Charles Giordano, Michael Wagoneer, James Bucksala, Nancy Frame, Jonathan Wright, Jim Grisillo, and Scott Pearsall as members of the Ordinance Task Force.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Make a motion, we reappoint James Bucksala and Francis Tarashi as members of the Historic Commission for additional 4-year terms.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we appoint Robert Wise of RGA, Inc. as consultant to the Township Historic Commission for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint Sandra Lammy to the Park and Rec Board for an additional 5-year term.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint Gothrop Greenwood PC as Special Projects Solicitor for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we reappoint Jason R. Winters, Samuel R. Matthews, and L. William Kay to the Agricultural Security Area Advisory Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint David Wheelahan to another term on the Municipal Authority.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint Robert Long, Carolyn Long, Luis Walker, Alan Yefko, Mark Smith, and Andrew Thurston to the Open Space Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We need a motion to appoint a supervisor representative to the Open Space Committee, and I would be willing to continue in that capacity.
I'll make a motion to appoint Vice Chairman Mr. Fisher to the Supervisor Representative to the Open Space Committee in 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint Karen Elrod, Shelley Francis, Christopher Givens, Jill Givler, Mitchell Goldfarb, Evelyn Samuels, and Sally Riddle to the East Brandywine Township Youth Aid Panel for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we appoint Corporal Daniel Orris as the Police Liaison to the Youth Aid Panel for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint James Bucksala, Hudson Volts, Bud Bruton, Eleanor Bucksala, David Culp, Douglas Freeman, Frank Harvey, Arnie Jensen, Jim Landrew, Roger Lauer, Charles Lindsay, Sandra Moser, Ian Plain, Thomas Skirto Davis, Charles Stone, Roger Stone, Jim Balberry, Luke Revan, and Scott Pearsall as members of the Bondsville Mill Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint Nancy Frame, John Breyer, Chris Salo, Hudson Volts, Richard Bates, and Scott Pearsall as members of the Traffic Impact Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Make a motion, we reappoint Michael Wagoner, Muriel Kennedy, Ian Plain, David Summers, Charles Lindsay, and Leonard Alinsky as members of the Trails Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint Kenneth Adler, Carl Croft, Robert Long, Bakumik Para, Jeffrey Rolfe, George Sherbach, and James Throne as members of the Budget Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Kyle, are you willing to, I think you're on the Traffic Impact Committee as a supervisor, the board representative, is that correct?
Yes, and I'm willing to stay there. Scott helps me with that.
right, I'll
Scott
make-
does most of that.
I'll make a motion, we appoint Kyle Scribner as the supervisor representative to the Traffic Impact Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. And Jason, are you the Bondsville Mill Committee, or is that Kyle?
That's me, and I'd be willing to continue.
Good. I'll make a motion, we appoint Jason Winters as the supervisor representative to the Bondsville Mill Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And I would be willing to continue as the supervisor representative to the Trails Committee.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Vice Chairman Fisher to the Supervisor Representative to the Trails Committee for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion that we appoint David Sweet as the Township Planning Consultant.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion, we reappoint Hudson L. Volz as the Township Representative to the Downingtown Area Recreation Consortium.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion, we appoint BBD LLC as the appointed Township Auditor for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion that we set the treasurer's bond and tax collector's bond at $1,500,000 to be filed with the Board of Auditors.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion, we name DMB First Depository for the General and State Liquid Fuels Funds.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 I'll make a motion, we reappoint Keystone Collections Group as the collector of the earned income tax for 2019, including all delinquent earned income taxes from previous years.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we reappoint Keystone Collections Group as the collector of the local services tax for 2019, including all delinquent earned taxes from the previous years.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 I make a motion, we appoint Keystone Collections Group as the collector of the open space earned income tax and to continue the tax at 0.125% for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we set the refuse removal and recycling fees at $235 for 2019. The refuse fee portion will be $165, and the recycling portion will be $70.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Make a motion, we continue the 1% real estate transfer tax for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we appoint the Board of Supervisors as the local tax appeals board under Act 50.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we appoint the Board of Supervisors and Police Chief Mark Kosi, Lieutenant Jeffrey Yankovich, Lieutenant Sergeant James Ferraro, and Officer John Hayes as members of the Uniform Pension Committee.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we appoint the Board of Supervisors, Manager Scott Pearsall, and Assistant Manager Luke Revan as members of the Uniform and Non-Uniform Pension Committees.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Let's see. I make a motion, we appoint a voting representative and an alternate representative to the Chester Tax Collection Committee, Chester County, isn't it?
No, it's Chester.
It is
Tax.
at Chester? Okay. Bob Hoffman as the voting representative and Dennis Mulhern as the alternate.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Representatives to the Western Chester County Council of Governments. I think, Jason, you did this in the past. You willing to continue to do that? And was the alternate, does not have to be a supervisor, is that right?
No, the alternate, both must be supervisors. Kyle was the representative and Jason was the alternate.
All right, Kyle, you willing to
Correct.
continue to do that?
Yes.
All right. I'll make a motion, we appoint Kyle Scribner, the voting representative, and Jason Winters, the alternate representative to the Western Chester County Council of Governments. One of you two have to second it.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
I abstained.
The UCC Appeals Board. In the past, has this been you, Scott?
I believe Scott and myself.
You as the voting and Scott as the alternate?
I'm not sure. I think I'm the,
Do we remember?
Jason was the representative, I'm the alternate.
All right. I'll make a motion, we appoint Jason Winters as the voting representative and Scott Pearsall as the alternate representative to the UCC Appeals Board.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I make a motion, we adopt Resolution 01 of 2019, designation of emergency service providers.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we adopt Resolution 02 of 2019, actuarial findings for the non-uniform pension plan for the year 2019.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we adopt Resolution 03 of 2019,
19.
actuarial findings for the police pension plan for the year 2019.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we certify the Board of Supervisors as delegates to the State Association's annual convention.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we appoint a voting delegate and alternate delegate to the State Association's annual convention, Scott T. Pearsall to be the voting delegate and Luke Revan the alternate delegate.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Make a motion, we reappoint Mary E. Heinbaum as the East Brandywine Township representative to the Downingtown Library.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we reappoint George Sherbach to the Vacancy Board for 2019.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, we appoint Kyle Scribner as the Supervisor Liaison to the East Brandywine Township Police Department for 2019.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
All right.
Love you, Chief.
I think the chief opposed that motion, didn't he? All right, other business. Proposed addendum request, Hawthorne Drive Stormwater Improvement Design. And I think we have Beth Euler here from Cedarville
And April. And April's here too.
and April.
We're just basically here to answer any questions that the board may have relating to this request. We had, I know that it's been discussed at previous meetings, the ongoing, yes, the ongoing nature of this project, but it started back in 2015 with stormwater complaints from the residents. We did a stormwater management study which presented design alternatives. We're authorized to proceed with a selected design alternative that the board had signed off on at that time. Started design work, and we're dealing with utility conflicts. In order to decide to determine where the utility conflicts were, we had to size the facilities to get an idea of where we would be crossing those utilities. So when we had an idea of where those utility conflicts were, we set up meetings with those utilities, which took a considerable amount of time to coordinate with the different entities, and then got more detailed locational information from the utilities at that time. At that time, realized that PECO had, taken several months to get back to us about whether or not they could relocate their utility lines through the development to accommodate our location where the stormwater facilities were, and then decided, well, they didn't decide. They said it wasn't possible for PECO to do that. So that's when we looked at locational alternatives for the township, and it went under the roadbed at that time. So we've gotten to a point with the design. We were hoping that we could accommodate within our existing budget, and with coordination with Matthew Van Loo, we were attempting to do so as much as possible, but with the design relocation, we were unable to do that, and so that's why we came back to, with a proposed addendum request. And it was, I believe, about $8,000 for the design. And then as a result of the design going under the roadway, we proposed additional construction administration of, I'll give you, I think it was, sorry, here, 19,000. That's time and expense not to exceed. That's an as-needed basis for construction inspection, and that's just depending on the situation as we go along. Hopefully we can keep the costs to a minimum for construction, but wanted to just properly advise upfront what the cost could be for construction administration. So we're just looking for the board's approval of the addendum request.
Is it fair to say that one of the difficulties with this project is that because of the age of this development, we don't have as-built like we would have for more current developments where you would know pretty much exactly where the utilities are?
That's true. Yeah, there are no as-built for this age of a development. Yeah, and even so, utilities change between now and 60 years
40
ago.
years
Yeah,
ago.
40 years ago.
All right, Jason, I think you had some questions about
Well, I was just,
necessity for the change and why it wasn't anticipated initially.
well, not as, anticipated, but more of, couldn't we have done like a PA1 call and had the utilities marked, and then that would serve as close as an as-built? and
We
then-
did do that, yes.
Okay.
We did a design one call, a construction one call, and incorporated all of that, which that was actually unanticipated too, just with the number of utility conflicts in there. So we had our surveyor go out and locate all of that, and then met with the utilities themselves, which of course they gave us information that wasn't consistent with the construction one call. So we had to update the plans again after that. And then meanwhile, Aqua was also putting in a new water line at the same time. So we had to update. We actually stopped work for a considerable period of time on this because we didn't want to, once we found out that Aqua was putting in the new water line, we wanted to make sure we got their as-built, which we didn't receive them until September. So we had kind of like, I would say like 4 different rounds of making sure that we had the latest and greatest utility information before we continue to proceed with the next step.
And I think it's, as my understanding, one call is designed, the program is there to protect one utility from somebody digging for another utility. It's not there to outline where facilities are for designing a new project or something like you're doing. It's helpful information, but what I'm saying is that's not the purpose of the one-call system.
I guess they do have what they call design level 1 calls, but they're not actually necessarily what's representing what's out there, So I think it would be safe to say that people design based on those design level 1 calls all the time, but then when it comes to construction, it's not there, which is why we knew that there were going to be utilities within proximity. We wanted to take it a step farther and not just rely on that design 1 call, because if we had, then we would be out there digging up, utilities right now, like installing the infrastructure. So we wanted to try to avoid that.
There's also like private companies out there that would come in and do their own locations for you, and
Yes, our surveyors did go out and locate. However, we are required to go through the one-call system, and when the utilities respond, we do have to acknowledge their information, and then either verify it or see that there's a conflict through the expensive survey, and then that's why we met with these individual utility companies, because this is a complex project, a larger community that has been basically designed and functioning without a concise stormwater system, a system of swales. To add that is very complex. So the other thing is with utility companies is they're notorious for not keeping good records, which is why we find the information is conflicting at times, which is, again, why we waited for Aqua to give us their as-builds before we continued with the project. And essentially, the length of time in order for us to start and stop has caused an inefficiency that we didn't anticipate, which is why we're looking for supplemental design. Besides the fact that, ultimately, after all of the as-built came in, we had so many conflicts that we had to take the design that we were working on full steam and make alterations and change it.
But to be fair, though, we didn't cause a delay either.
No.
As far as the additional inspection fees, as full-time inspection, you had said, for the compaction in the roadways, I just think that's a little bit overkill to have a full-time inspector there.
Well, we'll certainly take that under advisement, and we'll look to council and to Matthew to advise us on how much inspection should be done. It's also going to matter who gets the contract. There are contractors out there that we have to babysit less than others. But because it's going to impact the township right of way, I feel it's important to at least acknowledge that should there be the need for full-time inspection, that we're already letting the township know. This is a disclosure that to show transparency up front ahead of time.
And on a project this size, you anticipate that it's going to be a bid situation, so we have less
Absolutely.
control over the decision of who the contractor is.
Yes, we'll have to take the lowest qualified bid, and we'll work with your solicitor to do that. This project is also, we're waiting on hearing for the second round of Growing Greener grants that we've applied for. It's a great project for that program, but the governor is squeaking out the awards this time, instead of making a full announcement. We're waiting on that.
Would you be okay with being approved for like the $8,000 for the actual work that was performed, and then continue the project and come back to us and say, here's actual cost that we incurred? And then
Sure,
we could do that, maybe that,
that's
instead of just saying, rubber stamp saying not to exceed?
That would be fine. That would be a great way to get the project going. We're committed anyway. We needed to share with you that we are going to run into extraneous costs. So we certainly can do that, and then as we go through the bid process, we can update our anticipated needs at that time.
That's my personal opinion, but I mean, it's up to you and Kyle to weigh in.
Kyle, did you have any questions?
I did not, and I was able to hear everything perfectly that she said. So I understood it from the get-go. I know I was part of this with Matt a little bit, so I know where we are.
Well, Jason, do you want to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve a change order to an original contract, EBT 18-003 for Cedarville Environmental, in the amount of $88,832 for additional design and plan supplement work performed, with the understanding that they would be approaching the board again in the future to supplement a little bit more costs that they incur from this meeting today.
I'll second the motion. All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, NVR Inc., Weaver Track. This is the, says corrections, but changes to the AQRC ordinance amendment, hearing date and set conditional use hearing date. Kristen?
So they filed a conditional use application, and currently we have an extension through January 31st. And in going back and forth with the Planning Commission they had an amendment to address encroachments of front porches into the front yard for single-family dwellings. Anytime there's a change in the zoning ordinance, it has to be reviewed by the County Planning Commission. The ordinance that's presented to the board has to be the same one that was reviewed by the County Planning Commission. So we need to schedule the hearing on the actual amendment. Originally, I think at our last meeting, the board thought that they could do this at the second February meeting. Looks like we're going to have to push that. Will we still be able to do it at the second?
January, you meant January meeting.
We were thinking we could do it at the January
Right.
meeting. So I guess we would, I'm trying to remember, Scott, if we'll be prepared for the first February meeting, the work session, or will we have to do it, the ordinance, at the second meeting in
You had for the
February?
7th, I'd mentioned at one point.
I believe we were,
We'll be prepared to do it on February 7th.
yeah, as long as the County Planning Commission provides comments, I think we can do that.
I just don't know if we had, it really needs to be submitted to them 30 days prior to the hearing date. So did we get the revised draft to the County Planning Commission on or before the 7th of January,
It was,
which is today? So-
no, it was submitted the 21st of December, and then there have been 2 subsequent changes. The last revision that NVR requested was submitted Thursday.
Okay, so then we would be able to have the hearing on the zoning amendment on February 7th
Yes.
at 8 AM as part of your work session. And then the applicant intends to attend the planning commission meeting in February, but wants really the review to be focused on the conditional use. I know that they had submitted land development plans with the conditional use application, but in speaking with Lindsay Dunn on Friday afternoon, she would prefer to have Nate Klein's office focus really on just the conditional use component. In the event that the board has some issues or, planning commission has suggestions and things like that, that would ultimately change through the conditional use process, they would want to follow up and do the land development review after they get through the conditional use hearing process. I had suggested to Lindsay that this would be something that we probably don't want to do as part of your regular meeting, as far as your conditional use hearing, that you might want to schedule a separate night. And looking at the calendar, we were thinking potentially the last week of February. So it wouldn't be 2 meetings in 1 week. Potentially, we could do it the week of February 25th, which is a Monday. So I don't know if the board's available. I know Scott said that there's a conflict on, Scott, was it Wednesday, the 27th?
Wednesday, yes.
You have a
For
conflict?
an evening meeting.
Yeah, and I have a conflict on Thursday, February 28th. So if the board is available to meet on Monday, February 25th, or Tuesday, February 26th in the evening, those would be the dates that I would suggest.
I'm fine with either.
I'm not aware of any problem on either night, but I'd have to check my calendar at work before I could commit. I'm assuming that NVR is going to grant us an extension on the conditional use.
Yes, Ms. Dunn indicated she would. I told her, we were talking about what date to submit it until, and I said, well, why don't you wait? The board has a meeting. She had no problem doing that, but we thought the letter would be more, it'd be the correct date if we knew
Yeah.
the date of the hearing. So it seems to me like we have some additional hearings, additional meetings of the board where we can solidify this date. If you guys want to just take that under advisement.
Well, I think we can get back to you, I can get back to you later today, and then we
Okay.
can set a date for it.
Okay.
So the 26th?
The 25th, is there a preference between a Monday and a Tuesday? No? And what time,
No.
what time, is 7 PM an appropriate time, or would you like to do it?
That's fine with me.
Okay, so we'll shoot for either the 25th or the 26th at 7 PM for the conditional use hearing.
In the meantime, do we have to accept, or have we already accepted this extension, the November 30th letter?
I believe that you have, yes.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. All right, first addendum to the contract between the Board of Supervisors of East Brandywine Township and Mark D. Cosi, Chief of Police.
So you have before you an amendment to specify that the chief is entitled to a lump sum longevity payment of $5,000 on the anniversary date of his hire. And the first one was actually paid through his paycheck on December 26, 2018.
All right, any questions? I'll make a motion, we approve the First Amendment to the contract between the Board of Supervisors of East Brandywine Township and Mark D. Cosi, Chief of Police.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, notices Are there any comments from the audience? Notices, an executive session of the Board of Supervisors was held on Thursday, January 3rd, 2019, to discuss personnel matters. I think that completes our agenda. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'm making a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Gone.
Aye.
Thank you.